Welcome today to Collector's Corner. I am here with Jane and Don Adams of Genonia, and we are going to look at a few pieces of their wonderful, what I call a folk art collection. And Don, I'd like you to give us an idea of when you started collecting and what your employment was at the time.
Well, we started collecting in the probably in the 1960s, and I was employed by Henry Ford Museum in Greenfield Village. We had a policy that we could not collect in areas that the museum collected, and also if we acquired any antiques, the museum had to have a look at them, and if they were needed by the museum, they'd go to the museum. So that was one of the policies that we had.
And what division were you in?
I was the External Affairs Officer.
I see. Well, let's talk about a couple of things that we have here. I'll let you tell me about this. This is something I am not familiar with. I don't believe I've ever seen them before, but tell us what we have here.
Well, these are Croquet wickets, and they're probably from about 1940, and some folk artist, I'm sure, made them. We think the character is wimpy, and with some of his pets, the cat and the dog.
Well, they're certainly unusual, and of course I'm thinking about our new croquet court that we're going to be opening soon, and what a fun thing. This piece over here I know a little bit about. It's made from a sewer pipe, and it's a bank, which is rather unusual. See the slot there for the money. These were usually made by the sewer pipe workers after they had finished for the day. And if they had the ceramic tile left over before they went home, they usually would make some kind of an animal, and in this case a bank, which is a wonderful thing. And knowing where the Adams were living at that time, they were very close to Grand Ledge, Michigan, where there was a big sewer tile factory. So I'm guessing that this probably came from that area. So Jane, this of course caught my eye immediately. What a magnificent piece. Looks very much like a carousel horse. What can you tell me about it?
Well, this carousel horse was made in Tonawanda, New York by the Herschel Spellman Company. As far as we can tell, it's about 125 years old. We purchased it from the family of a man who worked as a woodcarver at Herschel Spellman. It's all original except for the tail, which is human hair. The ears have been replaced, as you can see, and we replaced the leather. Now, when we were talking with the man prior to purchasing it, he commented about the paint, and he thought that it should be touched up. Well, we didn't agree, so this is just as it was found as far as the paint is concerned.
These look to be all hand-wrought as well, the little heart-shaped stirrups. Of course, if it had been repainted, the value would go down to less than half. So it's a very good thing that they left it as is. So he is just a wonderful piece. He's a little smaller, is he not, than the regular carousel horses?
Well, he would have been on the outside of the carousel.
I see.
And the animals behind would have been bigger. So that's the reason why the horse is relatively small in size.
All right, Don, tell me about this magnificent star. We moved it here for the photograph, and it weighs a ton. I think it says 40 on here. Is that correct?
40 pounds.
40 pounds. So tell us what this is.
Well, in the late 1800s, all the farmers, especially in the Midwest, Nebraska and Kansas, had windmills. And that was a very windy part of the country, and the windmill blades would get going so fast that they would destroy the mill or they would flood the land with the water that they were pumping. So Daniel Holliday came up with an idea of a windmill that would open against the wind so the wind could go right through it. And he needed to balance the blades of the windmill with a weight. And this star was Daniel Holliday's first windmill weight. It weighs 40 pounds, and what it does is it keeps the mill going at a consistent speed regardless of how strong the wind may be.
And I understand you had a collection of some others.
We had 13 of them. All the companies had their own symbols. Some were animals. We had a buffalo and 2 or 3 chickens, and we had a bull. And some of them were stars and eclipses and so on. You could identify what company made it by the symbol.
And all that heavy?
Most were heavy. This one was designed for a 10-foot windmill blade. Some of the windmills were larger than that.
I see.
So they'd be even heavier.
Heavier yet. Very interesting. I don't think I've ever seen one before, or if I have, I didn't know what I was looking at. So, thank you very much for the tour. I enjoyed these wonderful pieces of folk art. And if you have something that you would like to share with Shell Point TV, please get a hold of them, Emily Rose, and we'd love to see what you have to share with everyone. Thank you.